So in terms of the process of going into it from a kind of a blank piece of paper, once you have that green light, it was really how do you get that creation underway? And it was a combination, and what I'm going to try and show you now is this kind of combination of internal research that we undertook, external analysis. We did some work looking at competitor analysis as well, and a gap analysis to really understand as much of that market as we possibly could, that then enabled us to come up with what the EVP was, what it stands upon, and then how you develop that out and utilize it around the business. So one of the things that I looked to do was really try to showcase the steps through. And I think one of the things is, I'm a team of one within a global company. So I had to pull upon a number of key stakeholders across the organization. And really what I was looking at there was a step-by-step guide of really trying to explain what we were trying to do and which people from around the business I needed to bring in early. One of the big ones was around the sort of the corporate brand and marketing team, and I'll come to that. But really doing that stakeholder analysis and understanding who needs to be involved, who should be involved, and what role they're going to play in this was key. And then also doing a kind of a feedback loop. So some of the work we went through, which I'll show you shortly, it's then important to go back into the business and test this out, see if it lands, see if it sounds right, and see if it's starting to make people understand what we're looking to do. So looking at that sort of test and validation area, especially when we're working in an environment that was moving so quickly. So those approval loops were really key. And then once we got to a certain point where we had that agreement, we had that understanding, then able to look at what that creative deployment would be. So the key pieces that I started with were focus groups and a range of one-to-one interviews. So obviously with an organization that has 120 countries that we're based in, I had to break that down into regions and identify within that who were the key players that I wanted to speak to. So looking at whether that was people at the sharp end. So that could be members of the talent acquisition teams, that could be members of the kind of the hiring manager community. It could be recent people that we brought into the company as well who have been through the process recently, as well as some of the embedded people who have been here a long time who may have preconceived ideas of who we are as an organization. So really wanting to kind of look at all aspects of what we were looking at there. And whilst we were sort of gathering those key insights, it did enable us to start looking at that segmentation, looking at that localization, because whilst we were asking specific questions across the board globally, clearly what was coming out of this were themes that resonated in certain areas more so in others. So that's when you start looking at that localization piece.